Burning Rubber is social. Follow us on X at twitter.com/BRR_radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we're back. It's time for another quick pit stop for the weekend here, pre-race edition. Producer Wayne, the NASCAR Chef John Dicks. Andy DeLay is off doing Andy DeLay things. Probably sitting in a donut shop somewhere. John, what do you think?
Oh Lord, I wouldn't have gone there, Wayne, but he might. We're going to do a quick gas and go this week, so we're ready.
You know what? I like that. We'll call the pre-race show the gas and go. There you go. I'm not the only one that can come up with names for this thing. I swear it all. Like it's like it just comes to us, you know.
There you go, bro.
But man, what an interesting duels at Daytona we had on Thursday evening, John.
Yeah.
I was not expecting Bubba Wallace to show up and show out, but he did.
Well, Bubba always runs good down there. You know, he always,
sometimes
he usually runs good, but he wrecks out towards the end. But
yeah,
we'll give credit where credit's due. But I wasn't too happy about the end of the second duel.
So for those that did not get a chance to watch it, i.e. myself, because I caught the headlines last night since I was out working, fill in the crowd. What happened in duel number 2?
Well, you know, Wayne, in the past, when they've wrecked coming out on the white flag, coming down towards the checker, and if they wreck behind them, they haven't thrown the caution. And they threw the caution this time about 100 yards before the start-finish line, which I don't know what in the world that's going to do. And that caused the 43 car, Richard Petty's team and Jimmy Johnson's team to finish second and not first, because they were in the lead when they came across the start-finish.
See, and you know, it's not the first time that they've done that, though. And I'll tell you why I say that, why it's not the first time that they've done that. Because if you go back to, I think it was the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Daytona 2 seasons ago, I do believe it was. If you remember, where they were coming up on the finish, you know, white flag was already in the air, so next flag would have ended it. Or actually, no, the white flag was getting ready to come out, rather, excuse me. It was 2 to go. And as they're coming across, like they're in the front tri-oval area, like I'd say maybe 100 yards away from the start-finish line. All of a sudden, whoosh, there comes the yellow flag for an incident that occurred when they could have just let them go across the stripe and call it a race and be done with it. So,
well, you know,
so this is not the first time.
In 2007, the exact same thing happened. Harvick was racing with Mark Martin, and they were just before the start-finish line, and they didn't throw the caution because Mark Martin would have won if they'd have thrown the caution. He was in the lead.
Yep.
So I don't know whether it was right or wrong. It gives the impression that it depends on who's in the lead and when they throw the caution or not. But you know, besides all that, I think the other big story was JR Motorsports making the 500 for the first time.
It was.
That's pretty cool.
It was. I was pleasantly surprised to hear that, knowing that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had dreams of having a JRM car in the NASCAR Cup Series, and finally getting that opportunity with, you know, one of his original drivers in Justin Allgaier, who made the leap over into the Cup Series from the Xfinity Series and took that chance to get JRM into the 500. And I'll tell you what, Allgaier put up one hell of a fight in those duels.
Yeah, he did good. I don't understand how that's not a fifth Hendrick car, but we won't go there with that. So.
Well, it's got Hendrick backing. We know that much. It's got Hendrick backing.
It was built in the Hendrick shop.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, the car was built in the JRM shop up in Mooresville, but you know it was transported to Hendrick for all the finalities, shall we say.
But congratulations to Dale and Kelly and everybody over there at JRM, because they work hard, and our buddy Mike Davis over there. So congratulations. They're in the 500. So
that they are. So big stuff there. So Bubba Wallace wins duel number 1. Austin Cindric takes home duel number 2. And in the process, now, you know, another thing that Florida is well known for, John, especially any time of the year, is rain, rain, rain.
Yeah, absolutely, Wayne.
or because of the rain too, and that's another great point to bring up, is that the Truck Series and ARCA practices at Daytona were canceled because of the ensuing thunderstorm that hit Daytona Beach yesterday afternoon as well into yesterday evening. And honestly, knowing that they had the rain, I'm actually kind of surprised they were able to get the Duels off without a hitch.
Yeah, they worked real hard to get them going, but those jet dryers work pretty good, and NASCAR works hard to get them. I was a little surprised myself, but kudos to NASCAR for getting the show on.
Yep, exactly. And now another one thing we can bring up here real quick too before we get into the recipe of the week, and this is going to be interesting as well here too. Todd Gilliland, who actually had a pretty decent 2024 season, him alongside of Cody Ware, they and both their crew chiefs were ejected for technical violations, and they will remain ejected for the rest of Speed Weeks and the Daytona 500, as both cars were found to have improper weights attached to the car.
No, that's a big deal for that, especially for that race. But
and the fact that now this is where questioning comes into play, and I'm sure you can get a hold of your buddy Elton Sawyer and kind of get us a little bit more, maybe get us a little more information. I'm not saying you could, but it's like you look at it and it's like, okay, improper weight, like what kind of improper weight was on the cars, and in the same right, how did that improper weight cause a straight up ejection from the event and not just being forced to start at the tail end of the field?
Right, that's a good question, Wayne. But maybe we can dig into it and find out for the viewers. So
yeah, we'll definitely have to. Go
stay
in. Stay
tuned, everybody.
Yeah, yeah, stay tuned because things are going to get a little interesting here. But moving on here, touch on a couple of other little headlines here. Speaking of Daytona 500 stuff, qualifying was on Wednesday. So one big thing that does not change when it comes to Speed Weeks and the Daytona 500 is who starts on the front row. So the duels only affect row 2 on back. So Bubba Wallace does get to start up in the third position for the Daytona 500 in lieu of his win in duel number 1. But the guy we got to talk about, John, and this is big news because this hasn't happened in, ever, especially even under the Stewart-Haas brand. Chase Briscoe, Brisky, getting himself a pole position in his brand new ride in the JGR number 19 that was formerly piloted by Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to our buddy Chase, and we're happy for him. So we'll see how it goes. See how he runs Sunday.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how he runs on Sunday and hope everything goes well. And speaking of other big news from qualifying, and we touched on it in the duels just a minute ago, where Jimmy Johnson has officially made the show, Martin Truex Jr. has officially made the show, Helio Castroneves was pretty much locked in on position base because his qualifying time did not allow him to actually would have not allowed him to make the show. And, other names that are in there, like Anthony Alfredo is in the show this year. You've got Eric Jones for Legacy Motor Club, who made the show as well. Honestly, this Daytona 500, John, it's a mix and match bag of both stars of NASCAR, stars of IndyCar, stars of other forms of motorsport, including SVG, who, if I read the qualifying roster right, after Wednesday's qualifying run, actually got in I believe it was 29th position overall. So for his first ever super speedway foray in the Daytona 500, that's not bad.
Yeah, that was good for him. That's he's learning a lot. He's doing really good. But Helio is actually going to be in the ARCA race too, so y'all can catch him in that. So we'll see how he does.
Yep, and I gotta say now, as much as I was ripping on Helio Castroneves for, coming in and taking that extra spot up in the field for the Daytona 500, that Project 91 car is definitely Burning Rubber Radio approved.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at that car and it's like, Wendy's? I've already had breakfast. Is it lunchtime yet, John?
Well, we got a recipe coming up, Wayne.
Matter of fact, we do. And, it's kind of funny how we segue into these things sometimes, folks. And but with that said, here we're going to get over here to the NASCAR Chef, and he is going to tell you all about the goodness of Forza Week.
Yes, sir, guys. We got some keto Cheez-Its this weekend. Very simple, very easy this year. Y'all need to check us out with our recipes. We're going to try to start doing a little healthier. Wayne and I probably need to drop a few pounds, but we won't go there with that. We're going to start with what you want to do, gang. You want to take a couple slices of cheese. I use the cheddar, or you can use what they call the extra cheddar cheese. Sharp cheddar cheese. I'm getting tongue-tied here with these Cheez-Its. But use the sharp cheddar cheese, a couple slices, cut them in little cubes, and put them on some parchment paper on a baking pan. All right? Preheat your oven to about 250 and place them in there for about 30 to 35 minutes. Very simple, very easy. Dip them in whatever you want to dip them in, but it's really good Cheeto Cheez-Its.
It really sounds good. Now again, John, we always have fun with this part of the recipe segment here, where when we bring up stuff like this, as far as like preheating your oven, all that other good stuff, if folks want to get it done a little quicker, you could actually probably preheat it to 350 and cut down about 10 minutes of cook time?
You can try it, Wayne. We'll try it and see. Maybe we'll give a little shout out next week of what happened. I've always done them at 250, and I've used the extra chart. And it's some good stuff.
But then again, you're talking to fat boys that like to eat quickly, so
you can try it, brother. But make them this week for the 500, and give us a shout out and let us know on our Facebook page how you liked them. And also give me a couple recipes. Give me a couple ideas, and we'll put them on there. You can reach me at John at BRRTV.net. I'm sorry. Well, I hadn't said that in such a long time, John, at brrtv.net. But send me your recipes and your slide comments, and Wayne and I, we might try them out and get even fatter.
Oh yeah, and the great part, folks, too, is that with this recipe, and we're gonna put the full screen version up here in just a moment for you as well. Is that with this recipe, we're also going to have the picture going up on our Facebook page, going along with the video, so it'll be two separate different posts. Actually, more than just our Facebook page, it's going to go up on Instagram, it's going to go up on X, it's going to go up on Facebook, it's going to go up on all of our social medias, so do be on the lookout for that picture. Like John said, comment, like it, and in the comments section, if you have ideas for recipes, leave your recipe ideas in the comments or send an email to John at brrtv.net. And John, I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to this Daytona 500. I got a feeling that this is going to be one of the best ones that we have seen in a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you, Wayne. And I think the guy in the lead is going to finish in the lead. So that's my pick.
So you're going to go with Risky Brisky. And I think,
I
forget who Andy DeLay said he was going for, but we do know that he made a pick as well. I would say if I had to make a pick for anybody, knowing what I know with the 500, knowing it's a super speedway race, and knowing that the guy made it in on speed alone as well as time, I'm going to say Jimmy Johnson takes home another Harley J. Earl trophy this year. I mean, it's an out of the blue pick, but
that's interesting.
But I have a feeling Jimmy might do something this year. Maybe, who knows? But there is somebody, John, that we do need to go talk to here. That honestly, we haven't heard from him in quite a long time. It is the motorsports enthusiast John DeRudris. John is back in studio this week, folks, with this week's pick list.
Morning Rubber Radio. We're back with me, John, the motorsport enthusiast, and hope you all had a great holiday. Hope you all had a great New Year, and hope you're enjoying your week up to the Daytona 500 that happens this Sunday. So let's get on to it. This is the big race. This is the 500, and I'm going to get straight into my picks. So I think that it's going to be more of a long shot. I've actually already put my bet on this driver to win. I actually mentioned it in the previous video on my social channels, and I think this driver is going to get it done. But let's talk about a few things to why I think this driver and this team particularly can get it done. So looking at this team in the past, they have had very strong runs at super speedways. They had a driver win in their car a few years ago. Trying to give you a little hint on this. They have seemed to always perform well and be up at the front of these super speedway races. This car last year with a different driver also qualified in the top five out of 6 super speedway races if you include Atlanta. So this car is fast, and we know the speed is there. This particular driver has finished 13th in the last 2 races at Daytona in a different team. So hopefully your wheels are spinning. You're trying to figure out who I'm picking. Well, this driver on a super speedway, Daytona has been their favorite. It has been the highest finishing position when it comes to super speedways. And when you look at this driver as a whole, yeah, the finishes may not be there, but Daytona has been very consistent. He has finished in this at Daytona 13th in both races there in 2024. He switched over from one Chevrolet going to another Chevrolet. And another hint that I have to give you is that he reps the green machine. He's in a green car. So you're probably like, who the heck drives a Chevrolet who also is driving a green car? There's really few and far between when it comes to this. But the one driver that I'm going to hone in on this weekend, it's a long shot, is Zane Smith. That is my pick to win the Daytona 500. Now, he is my only pick this weekend because I am staying away from a lot of bets. It's the 500. You don't know what's going to happen. But the first bet I'm going to have is Zane Smith to get a top 10. The odds are around a plus 280, which means if you put down $10, you'll win almost 3 extra money. Now, for him to win, it is a plus 7,000. That means if you put $10 down, you will win 700. My pick for this weekend to get a top 10 and to get the win is Zane Smith in the Daytona 500. As always, bet responsibly. Don't bet the house. Don't bet the 401k. Bet what you are willing to lose. And all I have to say is good luck.
Well, John, I got a
very interesting.
I have to question, like, Zane Smith? Wow, Johnny D, we're gonna have to talk. Like, I have to question that. I have to question that pick. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, John? I mean, I got to question that pick.
Well, I tell you, at the 500, any of those races like Daytona and Talladega, you really don't know who's going to win. You know who runs good. Zane is capable of winning. He's a good race car driver, and it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. So we can either congratulate our pick for that, or we can pick on him next week, one or the other. So
yeah, and considering Johnny D's record at one point last year, he was like at 1.0 for like 7 for picking winners. But then again, most of the season anyway. We were at one point, most of us were like 0-20. So
I know I had a rough year last year. So.
Well, I mean, you were going mostly Stewart Haas boys, knowing that they were shutting down at the end of the year too, and right. sadly, SHR did not really impress last year for their final season.
You can't pick with your heart. You got to pick with your head. And last year, usually I pick with my head, and I actually do pretty good. But last year, I picked with my heart, and it is what it is.
I was going to say you picked with your heart, and you had a bad case of heartburn from all that good food you were cooking.
I hear you.
But with that said here, folks, we have got to wrap it up for a quick gas and go for this week here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Again, make sure you follow us everywhere on all the social channels, rumble.com. Search for Burning Rubber Radio, youtube.com/Burning Rubber Radio, facebook.com Burning Rubber Radio, Instagram, the same thing, Burning Rubber Radio, and X is BR Radio _. Our buddy Zachary Murtis just recently changed that up for us. So x.com/BR Radio _. Make sure you follow us on all of the social media channels. Thank you for every follow, every subscription, every like, everything. We love the engagement with all of our fans. Have a great weekend for the Daytona 500, and we will see you guys again coming up on Monday to wrap up Daytona 500 week and Speed Weeks. I'm producer Wayne. That's the NASCAR Chef John Dicks. We'll see you on Monday, folks.
Burning rubber, baby.